I don't remember any of it.
You don't remember?
For you, the day bison graced your village was the most important day of your life. But for me, it was Tuesday.
Welcome to the Rated G for Gamers podcast, episode 169, the E3 special day 1. Just a reminder before we start that you can find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube at Rated G for Gamers. Please rate and review us on iTunes and Spotify. We appreciate all the love. Also, we are part of the Gaming Podcast Alliance. Check out all of the fine podcasts featured on there if you're looking for more gaming goodness. I'm your host, Dave Rotino, and this is my co-host, Dan, the podcaster formerly known as Classic Robinson.
What's going on, man?
E3 is what's going on, Dan. We are going to get right into it. No talk at the top of the show, no pickups at the top of the show, no games we're playing right now, because E3, we are in the thick of it. We got the Stadia conference, we got the EA conference, and we got the Microsoft conference to go over.
But wait, Dave, we have to talk. I know they didn't have a conference, but they had, listen, this is like everyone's trying to top everyone else by being first, right? Yep. Like before E3 always started on Sunday, and then EA sort of pushed out into Saturday. Yeah. And Stadia, I'm not going to lie, Stadia pushed out to Thursday. So technically E3 week, right? It started Thursday.
That's right.
But we should talk about and give some love to THQ Nordic, right? Because they sort of teased out last Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. So they sort of started this on Wednesday. They teased 3 new games that are going to be coming out. And the first game they showed was SpongeBob SquarePants Battle of the Bikini Bottom Rehydrated. Say that 10 times fast.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and pass on that. This is a remake of the Battle for Bikini Bottom, I think, on the PS2.
It came out on the PS. I think it came out on all platforms.
I mean, well, sure, yeah, but it was the
PS2 era,
definitely of that era. Okay, I don't know who is a fan of this game so much so that they want a remake.
People, listen, when they announced this, everyone was not going crazy like they announced a new Halo game or anything, or a new Uncharted game, but this was well received. People like that original SpongeBob, SpongeBob SquarePants game back in the day.
I mean, I guess it feels a little, I don't know. It feels a little like a Voodoo Vince. It feels a little like a Sphinx and the Cursed Mummy.
Well, don't put Sphinx and the Cursed Mummy in the same sentence as Voodoo Vince.
We could just talk about Voodoo Vince. It's a completely average mascot 3D platformer. It's not anything crazy.
It's great. It was a great game.
I'm sure it was. It's on everyone's top 100 list of the worst games that needed to be remade.
Top 100 list of top platformers. It was Phil Spencer's favorite game from the original Xbox.
Of course it was. Yeah, you know what? You know what like Bill Gates' favorite game on the original Xbox is?
What? I'm afraid to ask.
Fusion Frenzy. All right. So I'm not gonna take any CEOs or heads of departments.
Which is backwards compatible, by the way. If you still have Fusion Frenzy.
You know what, Dan? I do.
Game.
I do have a copy of Fusion Frenzy. It's a half-hearted Mario Party.
Okay.
Which is fine. Right. Given the choice, I'm always going to pick Mario Party. All right.
Well, you know what you need? You need a Fusion Frenzy Voodoo. You need a Fusion Voodoo Vince Frenzy.
I don't even know what that is, but I do not want any part of that abomination.
It's a Mario Party with Voodoo Vince character.
Oh my God, no, thank you.
They also
a hard pass.
They showed off a new Destroy All Humans game. that they're working on?
Well, a remake, right?
Remake, yes.
Yeah, which is very interesting. You know, it's a perfectly fine game back in the day on the PS2 and Xbox era. You know, same kind of came out around the same time, maybe a little bit later, 2006 maybe, I think 2007. 2005, 2006. It's a fine game, you know. Now it's getting a remake, back in the limelight again.
But a brand new game that everyone's going crazy over is the new Darksiders game, Darksiders Genesis.
Mm-hmm.
So this is sort of like a top-down twin stick shooter, which will have Strife, the fourth horseman. Okay, so that would be the game. And it's sort of like a prequel.
Universe.
Yeah, this is a prequel from what I can tell. This is a prequel to the original Darksiders game.
Mm-hmm.
So and it has Strife. So we were talking, you know, like, so I figured Darksiders 4 would be Strife, right?
Mm-hmm.
Would be a Strife game, and then they would do sort of like a Darksiders Avengers, you know, team up game at, you know, at some point a couple of years from now. But since they got Strife sort of in its own game, Genesis, which is totally different than the other three games, and all four games now are all sort of different, because the first game was more related to like a Zelda type game,
right?
And I think Darksiders 2 as well, and Darksiders 3 was more of a Dark Souls game, really tough. And this is a twin stick shooter, so maybe an actual Darksiders 4 would be the whole collab where you have all four horsemen all together. Maybe
that'd be kind of interesting. Yeah,
that would be kind of cool.
I get behind that.
So I'm all for that. And we found out that this game will be playable on Stadia.
There you go.
Which brings me to the Stadia press conference. That started off the actual conferences on Thursday. And we got a lot, everything that we wanted to know when they first announced Stadia at GDC. We got a lot of like sort of semi-release date. We didn't get an actual date. We sort of got like a release window and pricing. So let's just jump into it. The pricing. I'm before we jump into pricing, let's talk about the games for a second. So we're gonna get Darksiders Genesis. Yep. That's going to be Stadia playable. And we know we're going to get Assassin's Creed Odyssey and I'm sure as we go forward, we'll get a lot of Ubisoft games, because they're all on board with streaming, right? Yep. Ubisoft is all on board. They're jumping in both feet.
Yeah, I mean, they're like a third-party studio. They're not beholden to any companies. It's a good move on their part to do that, because they're obviously going to reap the benefits and the profits. Right, well, look, if you don't have a powerful machine, you can still play Odyssey, or you can still play Origins or whatever.
Listen, Ubisoft jumps in on anything, right? Not anything, but they jump in on mostly everything, right? They were all in on the Wii U.
That's right.
Like, you know what?
Right.
We're all in
their hands
on the
in every single pot. For better or worse.
For better or worse, but they announced officially the worst kept secret, Baldur's Gate 3.
Yeah. Well, you know what, Dan? I didn't know about the secret, so I was surprised.
Everybody was speculating that Baldur's Gate 3 was going to be announced at some point on some stage, and then it came out sort of like 2 or 3 weeks ago that it would be on Stadia stage. So
right, and we got this like ahead of the gate. We had the announcement pre the Stadia conference, right? It's the same guys who did Divinity: Original Sin 1 and 2. And it seems to be their thing. Pre-E3, they will say, hey, we have this brand new game, and here's what it is. And they'll kind of get ahead of the curve and all that. Same thing that happened here. So those guys are good. Those games are highly regarded. I love the first two Baldur's Gate games. They came from Black Isle.
When was the last? What year did the last one come out?
Well, there was Baldur's Gate 1 and 2. There was expansion packs for both 1 and 2. Then there was also Icewind Dale, and I think Icewind Dale 2. And I believe Icewind Dale 2 was the last like D&D license thing that came out of Black Isle. After that, they folded. They also did the Fallout series, the amazing Fallout 1 and 2. And they kind of folded after that. Or maybe they also, I think I did Tactics 2, Fallout Tactics, which is okay. And then they ended up like going under, so everyone like scrambled to get the licenses. It's good to see this is in capable hands. I'll say that.
Baldur's Gate 1 came out in 98.
Yep, 1998.
1998.
That's right.
God, I was still in high school.
Yeah, same. And Baldur's Gate 2 came out 2000, I think, if I'm not
Yeah,
mistaken.
yeah. No, you're right. It came out in 2000.
And those games
That
were
was
great.
crazy.
You know, they were old school. You know, D&D, point and click RPG game. You know, you'd have your team of up to 6, and you know, you basically you're playing an old school PC RPG. You know,
Do you
the
know
golden age.
you know what the first Baldur's Gate console game was?
I want to say Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance on the PlayStation 2.
You are correct. Ding 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 ding.
Oh,
2001. It was on the PS2, OG Xbox, GameCube, and the Game Boy Advance.
Dan, I would like to take things Dave knows for 1,000.
Random things.
Yeah.
All right. Well, you know what? Do you know what? You know how many Baldur's Gate games are playable in Stadia?
1.
Ding 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 ding. You're right.
Well, look at that. Look at that. I'm dominating right now.
Dominating.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
So we
I just wanna go
didn't
through-
get any gameplay out of this, but we did get a really cool trailer, right?
Yeah, really cool trailer. I didn't see a release date anywhere either. Was there?
Yeah,
A release?
it's. I think we'll hear about it probably soon enough. I hope this year, but it may be like early next year.
It's also Borderlands 3, Destiny
Mhm.
2, which we'll talk a little bit more about when we talk about the pricing. The Division 2. We know Doom Eternal is going to be on here because they've already mentioned that when sort of their when it came out of GDC.
Mm-hmm.
A game that I'm surprised is on here is Just Dance 2020.
Yeah,
Who won-
that it's not a very graphically intensive game to play, right? You can play it on the Wii. I mean, come on now.
Come on,
It's
you wanna
really
get
not
your-
taking that
you wanna
much
get
power.
you want to get your Just Dance on your tablet, and then you want to get your Just Dance on.
I mean,
on
it's
your computer.
It's kind of nice that it's portable like that, but you know, it's really meant for the living room, I think.
Rage 2, Mortal Kombat 11, Metro Exodus, which everyone popped about.
Mm-hmm.
But what makes a platform are the exclusive games.
That is
Okay,
100% right.
and none of these games that I've mentioned are exclusive to Stadia, except they've only mentioned one exclusive game, which is this game called Guilt. Right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like a new single player puzzle adventure game where you play as a young schoolgirl named Sally. She's like searching for her lost cousin in this monster town. It's like a cartoony style art style in a dark world, like a dark cartoony world. It looked okay. It looked interesting.
Yeah. Not enough, I don't think, to get us to jump into the service, but
It's no Halo. It's no Halo
it's
1.
no Halo. It's definitely not a AAA title. It's, you know,
It's
cute
no
little indie
Crash
game.
Bandicoot.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah, no,
Crash.
you're alone on
Crash
that one, Dan.
Crash.
Sorry.
Come on. Crash was a seller.
You're alone on you're alone on Aku Aku Island, Dan. I'm sorry. I'm not taking a boat out there with you. But I get you. It's not anything anyone's gonna go like, ooh, that, you know. It's the service and the ability to play AAA titles with non-AAA hardware, right? You can have a cheap, low-powered machine that, you know, as long as you have access to the internet and you got Bluetooth, you can hook a controller up and you got a screen, you're pretty much good to go.
Well, they did say that they're, you know, they have their own studios. They're, you know, working on their own games, but it's going to take a while, right? This is not something they're going to have to rely on lots of third parties.
100%.
And maybe some third party exclusive deals where, you know, only comes out Stadia first or exclusive to Stadia
and then it
for
rolls
a year,
out to other systems later on.
and then it rolls out for other, and then they come out with new games, right?
Well,
That's
it's the you know, it's the same thing that, you know, you said last year, I think, about Microsoft acquiring all of these big studios, right? It's like, well, they've just acquired these studios, or they've built these studios, put them together. You know, how long is it going to take them to put a game out, right? It's going to be a minimum like year to 2 years. And
more than that. I said it was a minimum of 2 to 3 years.
well, sure. And you know, when we get into the Microsoft conference, we'll kind of see what rewards Microsoft has reaped from those studios, right? But I mean, it's the same thing here. It's not going to be till at least the end of the year, if not even like the end of 2020, for anything like really substantial comes out. So, you know, they're playing the long game, I guess, right?
They are.
Yeah.
Well, let's get into the pricing, because this is what everybody wanted to know. and some of the pricing is a little all over the place.
Yep.
I don't know who this is for off the back right now, because they do have a free tier, which is coming out in 2020 at some point,
Right.
to where you could still stream games. It's still streaming. You're not downloading it like Games Pass or anything like that,
Nope.
or PlayStation or PS Now. It's still strictly streaming. It's free. We can stream anywhere, and we'll get into anywhere doesn't really mean anywhere.
Mhm.
But you have to pay for the game. So you pay. They haven't announced, the pricing, but they said fair market value, so it'd be between probably $50 to $70, right?
Yeah.
Anywhere between there.
Yeah. Which
Hopefully-
like that's okay. Like obviously you don't physically own the games. You don't even really digitally own the games. You own the right to stream them online, right?
Yes.
That's what Stadia is giving you. Is like, hey, we'll take care of the hardware. Just have a decent connection, and as long as you have the license for the game, then you can go ahead and play it.
Then they have sort of like a pro tier,
Mm-hmm.
where you're paying $10 a month, but you pay $10 a month and you'll have access to certain games, and you have access to like Stadia discounts when you actually have to buy games. So it's sort of like a Games Pass in a sense, where you have access to certain games to stream already that $10 gives you.
Mm-hmm.
But some games, which I'm going to think AAA games, new AAA games, the next Assassin's Creed game comes out, you're going to have to buy that for a price, right?
Probably.
It's not going to be part of that $10 tier, but it'd be discounted. It would be discounted.
Yeah. They did say you would get some discounts, which, would, make sense. 10, 15, 20% or whatever it is. Like, that kind of almost covers the cost of the $10 a month.
It does, but it's kind of weird that it can't just be like sort of a Games Pass motto. I mean, Games Pass is $10, flat out $10, to where you have access to over 100 games, right? And they said something that you're for $10 a month Stadia, you have access to like 31. 31's 100 is far cry from 31 games.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, to be fair, Stadia still hasn't even launched yet, right? So they're trying to build up that library of games,
and
so it's gonna take them a while to get there. I would say that, to be fair.
So let's talk about when it will launch. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna launch at some point in November of 2020. No, it's gonna launch at some point of November 2019. But only the Founders Edition. That's the third tier that they mentioned. That's $129. Okay, and you're really only getting the fancy controller, a new controller, a new Stadia controller, and a Google Chromecast Ultra for streaming on your TV.
Which the Ultra is like $60-$70. The controller,
True, but
you assume, is like $60-$70.
I'm not gonna lie. I was kind of disappointed when I heard this, because I'm like, well, why can't they have a Stadia branded sort of Chromecast? This is just taking something that they already have
off the shelf. They're like, here, we can have this. They're already charging a markup for it, whatever it is. So yeah,
they probably already have an abundance of this, and they just give it's like, we're going to put this together with a controller, a special edition controller that will never be sold again, right?
Right. Which would add a little bit to it. They should kind of make it a little more special, because they also said, okay, you're going to get 3 free months of Stadia Pro, right? Stadia Pro is $10 per month. And you get basically a gift subscription to give to one of your friends. They get 3 free months, basically entice your friends to get on the service as well. But wait,
Dave. But Dave, the biggest draw to paying $129 for the Founders Edition.
Mm-hmm.
The biggest draw is you get to be the first one to pick a Stadia name.
That's it. I'm signing up now. That's it.
They made it such a big deal.
I need to be Giants fan 420 before anybody else tries to take that name. I'm sorry. It's the most important thing when I go online that I get my username, Giants fan 420.
I want it to be big strong head 89.
Strong head 89. There you go. Yeah, that's like so dumb. It's like obviously when the quicker you sign up, the better your chances of getting your name. It's like, that's a benefit here. It's like, come on.
If you're a founder, When you have a Founders Edition, you get to choose your own name. Now,
Mm-hmm.
the real question is, do I get to change my name for a price, or is this going to be like PlayStation Plus, where we got
Well,
to wait 20
if they set
years?
up their service properly, like Microsoft did, then it shouldn't be a problem. If they didn't do it properly, like Sony did, then it's going to be a big headache and it's going to take a while. So it
So,
can be trivial, or it can be non-trivial, because it's a big
so
thing, right? Because the name is tied to so many different things. Where it should just really be a display. It should be your ID is what carries around with you, and your name is just for display purposes, right? But I'm simplifying things a lot. But ideally, you should be able to change your name.
so originally when they first said it at GDC, like you can stream anywhere, right? That
Mm-hmm.
was like you can stream anywhere. You can stream on your phone, you stream on your desktop, laptop, your desktop PC, anywhere. It doesn't matter. Yeah, that wasn't really quite the case, at least yet. You could do it on any Chrome browser, and you could do it on your not any phone. It's your Pixel 3, Pixel XL, or any up and coming Pixel 3 series, right?
Yep. Yep. So
More
my
phones.
phone, which is a Pixel 2 XL, which is a very good phone, cannot run it right now.
So more phones getting access later,
Yeah.
aka they're
I mean,
probably gonna shut out all of Apple for like a year until right, and probably shut out all iPhones for like a year or two.
right. For kind of various reasons, but one of them, obviously, they're kind of a direct competitor in a way. But I feel like it'd be easier to roll it out to like the high end LG phones, the high end Samsung phones, right? Kind of open it up a little bit because not everybody's got a Pixel. Like I have a Pixel, and it's not even the right Pixel. it's for whatever reason it's not available for my phone, so I can't try it out.
But they did get into sort of like performance wise,
Mm-hmm.
right? Something that I had to do. And you can go to Google Stadia. I think it's googleStadia.com or just Google Stadia, and it'll link you to
Yeah.
all of the specs, and you can do a network test.
Yeah,
So
they have like a thing at the top, and you can just kind of click a button. It'll test what your network speed is, and if it's over 35 megs a second download, you're more than fine, right? Like base minimum is 10, right? You need to have at least a consistent 10 meg connection, and that'll get you like 720p, 60 frames a second stereo sound, right? Which I think if you have a broadband connection, it should be that. Even in the middle of nowhere, it should be at least 10 megs for a broadband connection. 25 megs a second will get you 1080p and HDR video and 5.1 surround sound. And then the best of the best is like 30 to 35 megs. If you have a consistent 30 to 35 megs, then you can get 4K and all the other features, the HDR, the 60 frames, and the 5.1 surround. So I think people in major metro cities obviously are going to benefit the most because they have the best broadband infrastructure, right? You can get the FiOS and the top speeds from AT&T and Comcast and all that. So it shouldn't be an issue for those people. You won't get the best performance in certain parts of the country, but you still should be able to play, I think, right?
just don't play anybody with a keyboard and mouse. If you're in,
Well,
you shouldn't be. If you're using the Stadia controller, you shouldn't be playing anybody with a keyboard and mouse. But if you are in one of these rural areas where you have like 10 megabytes, right, a 10 megabyte connection, you shouldn't be playing anybody with a keyboard and mouse in a first person shooter, or even a fighting game, right? Because you'll get your butt handed to you in those instances.
I mean, looking at the list of games, most of them are single player experiences. Funny enough, right? Or they're cooperative multiplayer, like Borderlands, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Final Fantasy 15 is a single player offline experience. Metro Exodus.
Well, Thumper, I don't think you need.
No,
Thumper's
no.
on this list.
So
as
I mean,
you
like,
need.
there's a very small handful of games that have multiplayer competitive and whatnot. Then the performance is like first and foremost, right?
Well, so Dave, what did you think about the conference overall? This is their first sort of E3 showing. which was again not live. It was more like a Nintendo Direct, or
It's like an Apple conference, honestly.
it was like
Except
an
it
Apple
just wasn't
conference,
live. Yeah, they had that they definitely had that feel going on. It's like we are the coolest people in the room right now. We have this awesome tech, and you're gonna love it. And I was like, like I don't hate it. That's how I kind of came away from it. It was on the Dave scale. It was on the low end. Wasn't the worst thing in the world, because there's high promise, right? The 30 some odd games that they said that they're gonna launch with, I think, is a pretty solid set. There's definitely some good games in here. It would entice some people who don't want to spend $1,000 to $2,000 on a gaming rig, right? You have a computer already, but it's not powerful enough to play the latest games. Why not? Why not sign up for the service? I did.
Are you gonna get the Founders Pack?
No, I'm not gonna get any of this, Dan. I saw some people.
You don't want the Wasabi controller? You don't want the
Wasabi controller? No, I don't want the Wasabi controller. I saw some people genuinely excited on Twitter, and I was kind of surprised. I don't know about you, but
the overall conference I thought was good. I thought it was a good showing. It was nice and simple. And what I didn't like, I'll tell you, and this is me nitpicking.
No, go ahead.
What I didn't. This is what Apple does best when they do sort of when they do the Apple conference, but they cut to the video.
Yeah, the little pre-roll stuff. Yeah, or the
pre-roll stuff,
tape stuff. Yeah.
When they have someone talking, they don't shoot the camera right in front of them. They shoot it on the side, so the person talking is they're not looking at the camera, because they're really reading off a prompter.
Yep.
On the Stadia conference, they shot it. They had side shots, but they had a lot of frontward shots,
like straight onto the camera. Yeah, no,
straight that's like a camera. But then you see,
it's like filmography 101. You definitely don't do that.
But then you have the person the camera's looking at them directly in front of them, and they're looking up because they're looking to the side because they're looking at a prompter.
Yeah.
Reading from a prompter, instead of it being a side shot and letting them look, because when it's a side shot, it looks like they're being interviewed and they're looking at the person that they're being interviewed by, right?
Exactly.
So it doesn't look
it
doesn't look awkward. So it looked a little awkward just from a showing standpoint, because they kept doing face-to-face shots, and it's like the person's not even looking at the camera.
I think that's a fair assessment. Like, you want it to be, you want the conference to be, or whatever you want to call their thing, to be the best polished thing, right? Put their best foot forward, and have like everything be slick and dazzling and this and that, and it's like, here's the thing that you want. Like they wanted everyone coming out of that conference, how can I pre-order? When does it come out? All right.
Near one of hiccups.
Yeah. I don't know if they necessarily won a lot of people over with that. Obviously, this isn't for us. This is not something we're ever going to buy. We're physical till we die, until physical actually dies, but that's still going to be another couple of years away.
Speak for yourself. How you know I didn't like it?
I mean, did you?
It was okay. I mean,
see, I told you.
It was okay. It was. Listen. I'm not gonna buy the Founders Pack. Right.
I think maybe I try it out for free. You can.
Well, you know what? Let me not say that. I may get I get a bonus. I do get an early bonus. So $129. Maybe I will try it out. Maybe I will try out the Founders Pack. And I'll play maybe something like Assassin's Creed Odyssey or Just Dance 2020. No, I'm joking. With the Just Dance 2020, maybe I'll play Thumper.
I don't think you own, I think, just about every Just Dance game. I don't think you've ever played a Just Dance game.
I've never played a Just Dance game. All right. Let's move on to EA. So EA, historically, has had the most awkward conferences.
Awkward, lackluster, yeah. I mean, everyone's got opinions on the EA conferences year after year.
So they did something different. They didn't do a live conference.
They did something a lot different, yeah.
They broke it up into...
It was definitely live, but it wasn't the same like EA on a stage.
It was more of... Okay, so it wasn't an EA traditional press conference, but it was more of like a Nintendo treehouse with videos that are video packages of all the new games that are coming out that they want to show, right? that was sort of how it was, because they had Greg Miller as one of the hosts talk to the developers and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, it was more like a treehouse. And I love Greg. I love Greg to death. I was big supporter of Greg Miller. I was a Beyond fan, still kind of funny fan. But I thought the conference overall was it was okay. I mean, I thought Greg was a little bit too animated for me, right? At a lot of times. So that's just my opinion. I'm nitpicking. I love Greg.
Wow, and you're like a Greg Miller. You're a Greg Miller fan.
Super fan. Greg Miller super fan.
Yeah,
but I am objective, my friend. I am objective.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's fair. That's fair. I mean, I thought it was really cool. It was kind of a fan. It was a fan up there. Like, hey, like he's obviously a professional and whatnot. He's been doing this for years, but I felt he genuinely wanted to be there. He was engaged. Yeah, I mean, he was a little bit over the top. I want to say that the people at EA told him to crank it up to 11, maybe. I mean, I think he's naturally a pretty boisterous and loud dude.
He's naturally cranked up to 9, and they told him to crank it up to 11, 12.
Yeah. I think there may have been some notes behind the scene, try and get the audience engaged and whatnot. I thought he did a pretty good job. Like, he was out there for Jedi: The Fallen Order and was also out there for Apex Legends, right?
Well, Apex Legends, let's talk about it, right? So they had, EA sort of had 5 major things they wanted to focus on. So let's start with Apex Legends. They announced a new hero, Watson, right? A French scientist. You thought this was pretty cool.
Well, I mean, it's more content for a game that's already free to play. That's got a really
sort
good
of lost some
going.
of its player. Well, it lost. I mean, to be fair, it lost some of its player count. It's been going down lately. It's been going down a little bit lately.
Yeah. I don't know what to or for what reason, because everyone still seems pretty positive. All the people I know that play it consistently are pretty happy with the updates and the patches and this and that have come out so far. They've already had one new character. I can't think of their name offhand, but we did get a new character, like you said, Watson. She is support, and basically, I mean, they said it in the conference too, but they were like, the game is very offense oriented right now. It's like kind of the meta, right? Where, okay, you kind of pick your team and load out, and you just go run and gun down the middle, right? And obviously you still have, support guys and this and that to help you out, but it's really kind of aggressive right now. And this new character, I think, is designed to shake things up a little bit, right? To give you like a real-time strategy style base defense, right? And they kind of showed a lot about this character. They had a trailer for the character to get people hype, which I thought was a little kind of I don't think it was that great. It's definitely not Overwatch level. So they had that, and then they had some gameplay, like after they showed like, oh, here's the concept process, how this character came to be, and then they showed gameplay. And like one of the cool things is she can set up like barriers around, and those barriers act like alarm systems, so when like somebody's coming into your particular area that you're trying to defend, right? And there's a lot of like buildings and enclosed areas that have like choke points that you can kind of set the barriers up around, which is like kind of neat. But I like that they were talking about the fact that, well, there's obviously a clear way to play, and here's how everyone's going, and this is kind of the meta strategy. This is how you win, pretty much. You get this loadout of characters, you be very aggressive, and then boom, that's kind of really how it is. So they understood that. They took the player feedback. This new character is designed solely to shake things up and address that particular point, right? Plus, it's also new content, so it's going to get some people back in to play the game again. So that's always like good stuff. But she seemed like pretty cool, from like from a gameplay perspective. I was about it.
Okay. All right. And something else that sort of could tug on your heartstrings. FIFA. You're a FIFA fan. You play FIFA man. All the time.
The tentpole, FIFA. Yeah.
It's something that you play with your brother, right? That's
yeah. It's like the one game we consistently play online. I think the one really big new thing, they did mention a lot of like gameplay tweaks and whatnot, but you know, if you look at it from 17 to 18 to 19 to 20, it's like really hard to be like, oh, this new critical feature is really the thing, right? They are all good features, right? They kind of mixed up. They mixed up a lot of the offensive attacking and whatnot. They kind of modified some things. They modified the penalty kicks and the free kicks and whatnot. And like I thought that was good. There was some good stuff there, but not anything groundbreaking. It's just like, well, here's some stuff for the back of the box, right? The big thing was like what they called like Volta mode, I think, which is interesting. But it's basically just backyard soccer. Right, you play these couple venues around the world, right? You can kind of like bounce the ball off the walls if there's like chain link. I think they may all be walled venues, but you just you play like straight up street soccer or street football, which I kind of thought was kind of neat. And they led off with that, and I was like, oh yeah, cool. I could definitely get behind that.
So I think streaming wise, like the biggest thing that streaming is going to help. Mm-hmm. And I think this is what's going to keep streaming alive, because I don't think first-person shooters and fighting games will sort of be like something that we're really doing streaming-wise a lot in the beginning, at least.
You're talking about like just playing the game itself, right?
Just playing the game itself. Mm-hmm. I think that's something that's going to have to gradually get better and better and better, because when you have lag, that's going to suck in a fighting game, and that's going to suck in a first person shooter, because you need precision accuracy.
People will immediately give up the ghost.
You need precision accuracy. Mm-hmm. But I think sports games is where we get. I think this is going to be the first domino to drop as far as the digital future. Oh, that's coming. I think sports games are going to be more of a service streaming wise.
You think? Yeah.
I think that's going to be the first shooter. It's not going to be FIFA 20. It's going to be FIFA, just FIFA.
Just straight up FIFA. You're right. And you'll just keep getting updates and updates to the core game, right?
To the core game. And then if there's something different, major, and they have to overhaul, it'll just be, FIFA Ultimate. Mm-hmm. or NBA 2K Ultimate or something like that, right? Mm-hmm. So they'll every 3 years they'll do an overhaul of the game, where it's like brand new mechanics and features and mm-hmm. graphics, and they'll put a surname to it, not like a number, right? It will never be 2K 2020 or 2K FIFA 20, right? So mm-hmm. I think that's going to be the first shoe to drop. And you know what? I'm not mad at that. I'm not.
Because you're not a sports fan. That's why.
I am a big sports fan. I don't buy Madden, but I do buy the 2K. Every year I buy the 2K series.
Oh, all right. Sure. Yeah.
And we want to throw wrestling into that. I buy the WWE 2K series as well.
Sure.
But let's get. Well, you know what? Let's stick with Madden, right? Mm-hmm. They showed Madden. Mm-hmm. I haven't bought a Madden game in a long time. I know they added the single player sort of campaign in Madden, which I didn't buy because Tom Brady, who I love, by the way, but mm-hmm. the Patriot, and he plays for Patriots. Tom Brady's on the cover of last year's Madden, so I just couldn't bring myself.
As a Giants fan, you can't. It's just
I couldn't bring myself to buy.
It's it's awful. It's awful. I do remember the 1 year. I think it was 13. Had OBJ. You had Odell Beckham with the one-handed catch on the cover, and I said, "This is our year, boys."
That wasn't 13. That was like 15.
I'm pretty sure it was 13. I bet you. Maybe it was 15. It was definitely a while ago.
Because 13 was the last sports game released on the Wii U, I think. Because I have maybe the only Madden game.
Well, whichever one had OBJ on the cover.
Yeah, Calvin Johnson from the Lions.
Retired he was Calvin on 13. Johnson. Yeah. Well, whatever. It was one of those. Whichever one had whichever one had OBJ.
The only reason I remember is because I have the only Madden game on the Wii U and on the Vita was Madden 13. Yeah, Calvin Johnson. That's the only reason. That's the only way I remember that. So I'm sort of psyched about the new tweaks that they did to Madden 20, right? Because they have that the RPO, the run pass option. Mm-hmm. They made a big focus about that. Mm-hmm. And I'm excited, not because I play Madden. I'm excited for people who love to play Madden and sort of want that one button option. For someone who plays the 2K series, the NBA 2K series, the reason why I sort of tapered off from it slowly every year is because it used to have that one button call for a pick, where no matter where I'm in the court, I could hit one button and the guy will come to me and set the pick, right? So I could try to make a move, make a play to the basket or shoot or whatever.
It's like setting up for an alley-oop, right? You gotta, one button, there it is. You don't want this big, like, drawn out, 7 different buttons, get in the right position and all that.
Well, they switched it to they took the one button pick away, and it was, I think it was in 2K 2012 or 11, one of those, where they took the one pick away, and it was now you have to set a play for the pick. So I have to be in a certain position, a certain place on the court when I set that play to call for a pick, and it's just not wherever I am.
You think that's in favor of realism? Is that kind of was that the play?
Well, the problem with realism is, in reality, you can call for a pick no matter where you are, especially when the play breaks down and the player is stuck in a corner and he's calling for a pick because he wants to get out and see if he can make a move, see if he can make a play. So they should have kept that part. That's the part I don't like. Right. So the run option pass is sort of like set a pick, because now they put the emphasis on he can run or he can pass. He can run or he can pass, So I'm excited for people who love that part of the game, and it makes it easier for them to trick the defense. So I don't play it myself, but I can see why people will get excited about that, because if they say they make a focus on calling a pick on any 2K games, I'm all in, baby. So and then they did talk about Battlefield 5, which Battlefield is not like Call of Duty where they come out every year. It comes out every 2 or 3 years. They had an emphasis on new maps, player rankings from 50 to 500, and an extra chapter. If you love the single player campaign, and chapter 5 is unlocked, so you can play it now. You will be able to play it, not play it now. I didn't get past chapter 1. I didn't really like it.
I tell you, you got further than I did. I haven't even played that game yet.
It didn't scratch the itch for me. I played about 2 hours of it, and I was just like, this is not what I want. It didn't scratch that, because Call of Duty didn't have a campaign, so it didn't scratch that campaign itch for me. But I will tell you, I was hyped for the new Star Wars.
Jedi man. I mean, it made a believer out of me too. Let me tell you, we
got lots of gameplay, real in-game gameplay footage.
Oh yeah. Nothing was scripted. They said we got a player. He's played this over and over again. He's really good, but this is live to tape, I guess, right? It's probably pre-recorded, but he was playing this game, right? It was no canned video. It was no scripted animations or anything like that. It was all just him kind of running through.
But let's sort of set the stage, because Jedi Fallen Order takes place between Star Wars Episode 3 and 4.
It is between Episode 3 and 4.
It's somewhere before the Rogue One, right?
Well, it's definitely during that. It's definitely during that time frame. It's either before Rogue One or after Rogue One, because Saul Guerrera is in the game, and
Forrest Whitaker himself.
Yeah. So they had this on the Microsoft stage too, as just a trailer during their many games, and I was like, that guy looks very familiar. I'm like, it's frickin' Forrest Whitaker. It's Saul Guerrera, right? He was a major character in Rogue One. So it's either before or after Rogue One. Like, they didn't really give a ton of detail on the plot of the game, but they did have extensive gameplay, and you can definitely tell.
I can throw my lightsaber. That's
among other things, sure.
Often.
Yeah, you can
stop time.
You can slow down and stop time, right? You can
crazy.
You can pick up guards and bring them towards you. You can toss your lightsaber around. Yeah, you can do all the cool Jedi things, which is amazing.
I thought this was, honestly, when I looking at the gameplay and just some of the story, hearing the cinematic trailer from the Xbox stage, I thought this was the Amy Hennig game, right? Because it has platforming in it and platforming and everything. I thought this was Uncharted meets Force Awakens.
Yeah,
that's essentially what I thought this was.
There's a big emphasis on story. Like it's all single player in this game. There's no multiplayer. We know there's no microtransactions. We talked about that on a previous episode.
Come on, it's EA. There's no microtransactions yet.
I mean, I don't know. They'll probably have some DLC.
After
the
they
DLC
get after
is not
they,
microtransactions.
after the game's been out for a year, it's going to be like 2020. You want this game on a new gen, on the next gen? It's going to be microtransactions riddled.
Oh my god. Well, maybe. The one thing that was very apparent right away was you saw the guy wall running, and I'm like, oh, it's straight out of Titanfall, right?
That's Titanfall.
It's obviously the same
Respawn.
engine. It has to be.
Respawn. That's that Respawn. Yeah. It's
but
a beautiful game.
It fits.
It's story driven. It has the platforming that I love. It has it has all the Jedi stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have, and I don't know if you peeped this, because I think it was like 15 to 20 minute straight gameplay. I don't know if you peeped this. There is no regenerating health. So you need to call your bot and he gives you health. So I don't know.
I did not see that. Yeah. So I did see the
so
helper bot. Yeah, the helper bot kind of does all these cool things for you. I didn't realize he's the way to get health back. That's interesting.
After he helped the helper bot. He crawled on his shoulder and he said, I need a boost. And then he got the thing and he injected himself and his health went back up. So I don't know what you need to collect in the world, in just sort of in the world, to have like those health packs ready for you. But it's not regenerating health like Halo.
Yeah. There are no shields or anything like that. Funny enough.
No, well, you have your force. You have your force powers to.
You can do that, but that's also like on a meter. We would like to think, you can only use it so much. Otherwise, you'd be like unstoppable.
Well, I didn't watch the whole. I didn't watch the whole sort of talk through. I don't know if they mentioned, because you have 3 meters, and one of them is obviously life. I'm gonna guess one is for sort of like your force powers, and then maybe the other one is a lightsaber. I'm gonna say. I don't know what all 3 meters are for.
Yeah, it could be stamina too. If you do too much, you kind of get worn down a little bit. Because Jedi's are they're people. They're not gods. They have some godlike powers for sure, but they're not invincible.
They're just using the force. Everyone can use the force.
The other thing that was cool too, like given because you were just talking about the little helper droid, you use him to do some hacking and like reconnaissance and whatnot, and he's got some personality to him. You look like really cool. So even though it is a single player adventure, you don't have any party members, but you do have the little droid guy with you, and I thought that was kind of cool.
I am so stoked for this game. I'm ready. I'm ready. I don't want to hear anything else. Don't show me anything else.
Yeah.
I'm ready.
I think that 15 minutes of gameplay really kind of got everybody on board for sure.
I haven't decided what I'm going to buy this game, what platform I'm going to buy it on this year. But it was on the Microsoft stage, so I think Microsoft has the marketing behind it. So if they do have any little extra trinkets or DLC or anything like that, it's probably going to come. It's probably going to come to on a Microsoft. It's going to come on the Xbox version. So I may buy this on the Xbox version. Which brings me to the Xbox press conference. Let's talk about Microsoft. They had over 60 games.
Yep.
The most games, and they reminded you this was the most games ever shown at an E3 press conference. The E3 press conference was almost 2 hours long, and I got to be honest, it didn't feel like it. It flew by because I was excited. It's
following suit. Like 2017 was like a hell of a ton of games. 2018 was a hell of a ton of games. This year definitely no different, and I'm with you. It really kind of like flew by because there was always something exciting coming up.
It was always, and I got to be honest. So I love Phil Spencer. I've been on a record of showing my love for Phil Spencer. Now that Reggie is gone, no offense, Doug Bowser, you have a lot to prove, especially.
He is in untested waters right now.
Especially on Tuesday on a third show when we talk about the Nintendo Nintendo Direct, E3 Direct. Phil Spencer now is my favorite video game face, right? Like he's the face of Xbox. So I love Phil Spencer. I do. I really do, and I love what he's done. Just Phil, don't kill physical, please. Just don't. You know, if you do, you will be my least favorite. Just don't.
We'll get into that a little bit later too. You know, there was some key notes that he kind of dropped about the future of Xbox
and the future of gaming in general. Right? I mean,
yeah.
So I don't want to talk about all 60 games, and we'll leave the biggest game for last when we talk about hardware and the future of gaming. Mm-hmm. But some of the highlights. They started off with, which I didn't know it was the Outer Lands. Now we saw the Outer Lands. Mm-hmm. I think at the Game Awards. I think that's when we first saw the Outer Lands, or was it last year?
They did have it at PAX. When
they had it at PAX.
We didn't get a chance to play it, but they did definitely have it there.
It was Obsidian's game, a game that they were working on before E3 acquired them. I mean, E3 before Xbox acquired them. So I think Outer Lands is going to be on all platforms.
Right. And it's funny, a little bit of history about this. Obsidian, the company, was formed by ex-Black Isle devs who worked on Fallout 1 and 2, who also were the developers of Fallout New Vegas, the best one, and are now making a game that is basically Fallout without Fallout, right? The Outer Lands is basically going to be Fallout, but better, because Obsidian is fantastic.
You know what I like about it? And this is before I knew it was the Outer Lands. I was like, what is this game? You could be the player you want to be, right? So if you want to be a bad guy and help someone, and they give you a reward and then kill them, you can, and that will be your reputation, I guess. I would assume, right?
It's very much like Fallout. It's very much like Fallout. You can kind of do what you want to do in the game, and the game will let you do that. And I'm with you. I'm 100% about this concept. Right? As long as they can let you do that without putting roadblocks in the way that are obvious gameplay roadblocks, right? They're like, oh, well, you can't kill this character because it's a main part of the main plot. And if you kill them, then there's no plot. It's like, ugh, no, I'm out.
So that's what really got me. Like, it got my attention. Where the guy was like, "Thanks for helping me, man." Oh, God. And then he shot him in the head.
Yeah. It was great. It was great because that's what Obsidian does best. Right? They give the player control to do what they want to do. So I think they're going to execute real well on this.
And then we saw something that actually got leaked. This was actually leaked a few days ago from Ninja Theory, a game that they said they were working on prior to Microsoft acquiring them, is Bleeding Edge. So I don't know what you thought. I thought Bleeding Edge was okay. It was cool.
It was really kind of hard to see like what the big draw of the game was about. Like, it had a lot of unique characters, like an Overwatch game, but I didn't really know how it was going to play out. Right? They had a really slick trailer.
Honestly, I thought they sort of made it clear that this was something they were in development before Xbox bought them out.
Yeah.
So that makes me think this is going to be a multi-platform game, just like Outer World.
It may be. It may be. But it's definitely coming to Xbox and Windows PC. We know that.
Well, anything that's coming to Xbox is going to PC now.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
There is no exclusive just to Xbox. If it's Xbox, it's a PC game.
Right. And that was like kind of like a through line for the whole entire conference. It's Xbox, it's also PC. Xbox, also PC. But this game has the alpha June 27th. So at the end of the month, you can kind of get in early and test the game out and see if it floats your boat. So I think like that's kind of cool.
So a game that I've been waiting for, because I really like the first one. I got to get back into the first one, to be honest. I want to beat it now that I know that we have a date for the second Ori and what's the name? What's the full name? I have it
Ori
right
and the
here.
Will-O-Wisp, maybe, or something like that.
Will-O-Wisp.
Something like that.
Yes. Yeah. I had it in the tip of my tongue. Can't even say it.
Will-O-Wisp.
Coming out February 11th, 2020. I thought this would be a 2019 game, to be honest with you.
Yeah. I was kind of thinking the same thing, but for whatever reason they had to push it to right before Christmas 2. Right? It's kind of like right at the cusp of Christmas 2.
Well, I think they want to give this game a fair chance. If they put it out too early, and we'll talk about games that are coming out a little bit earlier than I thought.
Mm-hmm.
They don't want it to get lost in the shuffle, right?
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully there's no Metro Exodus or not Apex Legends. What's the other game? Anthem.
Like an
that's
Anthem
coming out in
game
February.
That kind of overshadows. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it's always the thing,
Crackdown, right? That's what happened to Crackdown. Everybody
exactly.
came out. It moved, and then everybody came out. There was a way to access Anthem on the 15th.
Yeah. You don't want to go up opening weekend against the Avengers. You're gonna lose.
You're gonna lose,
right? Come out a week or two after, right? It's fine. Spread yourself out.
So everyone's been waiting for the next Minecraft game, right? We're thinking there'll be a Minecraft 2, and will it be multi-platform or will it be an Xbox exclusive? But we got our answer. We got the next actual Minecraft game. I don't think it's any type of DLC or anything. I think this is a separate type of game. I think this is sort of its standalone game.
No, it's its own thing.
Minecraft,
It's
Minecraft
its own thing.
Dungeons.
It's in the Minecraft world, right? But the perspective, I think, is a little bit different. The art style is the same, but it looked like a hack and slash game, right?
It did. I don't think you build anything, right? I mean, maybe build weapons. No. You don't build a house or anything like that.
No. It's like straight up an action game.
It's like Minecraft action game. It looked when I first saw it, I thought it was like another story mode 3, right? Mm-hmm. Season 3.
Oh yeah.
This characters look sort of similar, but it was definitely Minecraft Dungeons.
Yeah, it's cool. It's coming out. It's coming out Christmas too, so spring 2020.
Will this be a multi-platform game? Will it be on a PS4? Think it'll be a Stadia game?
That actually is a very good question. I don't know.
Next question: if you were Microsoft, would you do it? Minecraft itself is on everything.
I mean, obviously it's going to be PC and Xbox. I can make arguments either way because everybody knows Minecraft. Everybody loves Minecraft. Every kid in America has played or is playing Minecraft as we speak right now, right? So it's got brand notoriety. People will buy the game because it's based on Minecraft. It's got the Minecraft visuals.
If I was Microsoft, I would release Minecraft Dungeons and Ori 2 on the Switch.
Well, that would be fantastic. I think it would fit right at home on there.
It'll be Microsoft Switch.
And just kind of skip over the PlayStation outright.
If I was them, that's what I would do. But probably what I think is going to happen. I think Ori 1. I think when we see the Nintendo Switch conference, I think the first Ori game will be on the Switch, right? Since Cuphead's on the Switch, and Cuphead's getting a physical release on the Switch and Xbox One, by the way, which I can't wait for. That's why I haven't bought it on the Switch yet, because I'm waiting for the physical release. And I don't even know if I'm going to buy it on Xbox One or the Switch, but we'll see. But I think Ori is going to get a digital release on the eShop of the Switch to coincide with Ori 2 in February of next year. And I think Minecraft will come on all platforms. I think it'll be a multi-platform game, Dungeons. I don't think it'll just be on Microsoft. I think Minecraft, because they spent billions on it, they want to recoup their money and then some. So I think it's going to be on everything.
Yeah, I could totally see that.
Next, they had a game that terrified the crap out of me. I thought it was actually when they pulled up the camera and he's in the woods. I thought it was like another Outlast game, or those Outlast 3.
That would make sense, Dan. That would make sense.
Or Outlast. Well, they had Outlast Trinity, which was like 1 and 2, I think. I played a little bit of it for not even an hour. I couldn't even make it an hour. Yeah, I'll be honest. I couldn't even make it. I'm not into the spooky games. But it turned out to be the Blair Witch. And if you're a 90s kid, like we are, then you remember the Blair Witch Project, the movie that was shot all in a hand cam in the woods.
Yeah, it was like the birth of found footage filmmaking. The movie made some waves and whatnot. It was
second one was
long
trash
ago though. They even made a sequel to this. They made a sequel a few years later, which was a regular theatrical movie in the kind of Blair Witch universe, and then just nothing. It fell by the wayside.
It was
Why
trash.
would you make a Blair Witch game? Who is excited about Blair Witch?
People who love spooky movies. And it was no release date either, so it makes me think this is not a Halloween release.
This was at like the bottom 5 of like what? I mean, they all can't be the Outer Lands. They all can't be Ori 2. You know, they all can't be top of the top. So something's got to be at the bottom. This is at the bottom.
I thought it was interesting. I got to be honest. I thought it was interesting when I was like, it's so interesting. I won't buy it because, you know, I'll wait for it to be a discount because I don't do spooky games.
You do not.
I do not. But something that I do, and I am so excited for it. I jumped up and started clapping, and that is Cyberpunk 2077.
Oh my God. I know.
We got the new cinematic trailer.
I know.
We got Keanu Reeves.
We did.
And we got a release date.
We definitely got Keanu, which was like, what? You know, he came out on stage, you know, he said a little bit, and then boom, he tossed it to another video that had the release date. So this game is coming out April 16th, 2020, which is great. Christmas 2, right? Christmas 2, 2020. Keanu Reeves is in the game. We didn't see any new gameplay footage, but that's perfectly fine. We did get that like hour-long gameplay footage last year, and that looked like really good and really polished. The trailer looked super slick. You know, it was real intense. Like, I felt bad for that guy. I'll tell you that. I don't know about you, but not in a good way.
So Keanu Reeves, I thought he had like a minor slip up, right? And I thought he's going to be a little awkward. I was like, oh my God, this is going to be awkward. But then he pivoted really well. Yeah. And he did a really good job. So I was digging that. I was like, oh my God, Keanu Reeves.
Mm-hmm. Everyone was real about it on the stage too, right? They were all clapping for him and all that. Like, he got a real.
But they wouldn't let him talk. He kept clapping.
I know. But I mean, it's got to make you feel good, right? You know, you come out on stage like special guest, this person, and then everyone's like, yeah, this is good. Like right on the heels of John Wick 3, which is a fantastic movie. Apparently, it got really good reviews on Rotten Tomatoes.
It did so well that they already greenlight John Wick 4 for 2020.
Oh my God, it's so funny. The third in the series, right, which is usually like the low point, right? The third in, I guess it's more than a trilogy now, but like you figure like, oh, they're out of ideas. They're just going to go back to the well again. And
oh God, this is going to be the next Fast and the Furious. This is going to be
maybe
John Wick 7 Samurai.
Yeah, I mean, look, hey, as long as they're fun and entertaining, I'm in. All right.
Come on, go back to the Matrix, please.
Go back to the Matrix. Oh, I mean, now would be the time if you're going to do it.
I'm all about it. I'm with it. I think I may get. I'm not gonna lie. I may get the other game. I may get Star Wars for PS4 because I am 100% getting Cyberpunk for the Xbox One X. Because you know, and I just, you know, I love getting my sort of shooters and, you know, stuff like this with the Xbox One controller. Mm-hmm. So
I'm getting it for the PC, man. I'm telling you, this
I know you are.
This game is gonna blast the consoles out of the water in terms of visual fidelity. All right. Even though I have the Xbox One X and the PS4 Pro, and they're beautiful systems and they're great and they do things really well, can't beat the PC. Mouse and keyboard all the way, high-res visuals. So, I'm cranking everything up on this game.
So a game that I know you were psyched for, because I know I was psyched for it. And that's Battletoads.
No, you were incorrect, Dan. You were incorrect.
Battletoads. Yes. Yes, Dave. I know you were so excited. You jumped up, you clapped, you did a backflip. You hurt your back because you did a backflip in your couch because everybody was psyched for Battletoads. We heard about it last year, last E3. We got a logo.
Yeah, we got like a quick little teaser, you know. It's
three-player co-op.
Dan.
Pimple is back.
Dan,
I want to play as Pimple. I know you're hyped.
I thought it was really sad. I didn't think it was good. I'm going to be honest. I'm being honest with you. The whole thing, the cartoon, the cartoon drawings, the animated toads,
and the over the top bosses. Good. Come on,
what's that?
And the over the top bosses. The bosses would look over the top. It
was
in the background. Right?
It was not the original Battletoads. It was a straight up beat 'em up game with like, hey, remember the turbo tunnel? Everyone loves the turbo tunnel. Here's the turbo tunnel again. but it looked awful.
And it's not a side view; it's first person.
It's straight on. Yeah. I don't know, man. I'm kind of on this. As much as I love Battletoads.
Oh, get out of here, yo! I was all about this. I was like,
I'm
Battletoads.
I'm sorry. This was also a low point in the show for me.
I just want to play as Pimple.
I mean, sure, you can always play the arcade game to play as Pimple. I think that was 3.
No, that game sucked. That game was so hard.
No, that game was like a quarter muncher. Yeah, the game was a quarter muncher.
A game that piqued my interest, right? And I felt like this would have been on the PlayStation stage.
It piqued our interest.
If this was, if PlayStation had a press conference, I think this would have been PlayStation stage, because this looks like a game that PlayStation would have, and it was a top-down perspective puzzle action thriller called 12 Minutes. And it's basically
amazingly cool.
Your wife apparently surprises you. She's pregnant, but she killed her father, and some guys coming knocking on the door.
Possibly killed her father. There's a lot of weird stuff going on, but
you have 12 minutes in sort of a loop. You're trapped in this time loop, and you have 12 minutes to, I'm assuming, solve the mystery of how her father died. So you guys don't die.
I guess like each time you play, you get more information, and then you can kind of do things a little bit differently to try and save yourself. And I'm going to assume that there's like a certain course of actions that'll get you out of the place safely with your wife, and then that's how you beat it. I don't know though, but like I was like, it was like real cool because they're like sitting at the table, and she's like, "I'm pregnant." He's like, "I know." I was like, "How did you know? You told me this.
Been through this already."
Yeah, and like he just keeps waking up, and like the scene starts over again. Like, yeah. I whatever it ends up coming out for, like I could see this coming out on the Switch for sure.
Oh, 100%. This is an eShop game. There's no physical. This is an eShop game.
No, 100%. Yeah, it's digital only. It's a nice, really cool indie title. I don't think we got a release date on this.
No, there's no release date.
Yeah. This was like right in the middle of the conference. Look, really
I wouldn't be surprised if this was like a 2020 game, to be honest. And then we got Gears 5.
Yep, they went all out for Gears 5.
I'm all in for Gears 5.
They lifted the stage up for Gears 5.
They lifted the stage up. They had WWE superstars under the stage.
Yo, I knew you enjoyed that bit. I did.
AJ Styles. AJ Styles.
Is AJ Styles, Xavier Woods, and yeah.
Oh, I forgot his last name.
Yeah. There's the third guy over there too. There was like 3 of them, and they were like, they were real excited. They were definitely all about being there. Yeah, and right. Xavier Woods is 100% gamer.
Well, AJ is a gamer too. AJ actually, if you check out Xavier Woods, up, down, down, they go into AJ Styles' home and show off his collection, and he has a sealed Punch Out. That's his pride and joy in his collection, a sealed Punch Out from NES.
No way.
He is a gamer. That man is a gamer. So
that's good stuff. So it wasn't just like celebrities; they were celebrities, but who were actual gamers. Like, yes. Part of the reason why I love the Xbox conference so much, right? It was all real. They weren't trying to like put out a bunch of fluff and say a bunch of like stupid mission statements and like why Xbox is great and all that. They were just like, nope, here's like a bunch of games and we're gonna kind of show them to you in the
Tyler
best way
Breeze.
possible.
I'm sorry. I'm gonna give Tyler Breeze some love because I'm a big wrestling fan. We talked about it a couple episodes ago, and he hasn't been doing really good on the main WWE roster. He's back in NXT. Where he was a big thing. Tyler Breeze was there, AJ Styles and Xavier Woods. Sorry about that.
Oh, okay.
So, I don't want to see anything else from Gears 5, and they really didn't show anything from the main story campaign. And they said they'll have more at Gamescom, and they'll have like an open beta or whatever. But we did get a release date. It's being released in September, a little earlier than I thought, September 10th.
Yeah, not surprising. I mean, we knew it was going to be this year. It's going to be the last big hurrah for Xbox. Right?
And it's going to be the big
title.
But it's the game that it's Spider-Man of 2019, right? It kicks off the holiday season for games, right? It comes out early September. I don't think anything else is really in the 2-week radius, so it has a lot of time to be in the news, be in the zeitgeist of gamers. I'm excited for it. I don't see anything else. single player wise, I'm not a big multiplayer guy anyway. They focus mainly on the new, not the horde mode, but they
Well, they had
focus
the
on a new mode,
escape mode, which
escape mode,
was
which is a
which was the
3-player
whole new
escape the
thing.
hive, right?
It was like it's a 3-player. It's a 3v or PVE, right? Player versus everyone, I guess, or three
PVE, yeah, PVE.
three person team versus everybody. You got to get in, plant the bomb, and then
But
get
you have
out.
a certain amount of time to get out, and
Yeah.
your ammo is limited. You don't have a lot of ammo, but they give you special weapons like an electric charge knife, and you have to get out at a certain time, and you have to work together because ammo is limited. So I thought that was pretty interesting. And if you go on Twitch right now, I think you can see Xavier Woods, Tyler Breeze, and AJ Styles playing it, trying to sort of demoing it. So I'm cool. If you want to play it, I'm good. I know you have a thing with Gears.
Yeah,
I don't know if you're going to buy Gears 5.
I mean, like me and Joe and a bunch of us play that game on the regular. We do the online multiplayer and whatnot. I think you'd really enjoy the hive mode. I mean, there's also like a horde mode, which horde mode is coming back. Horde mode is kind of like this. Horde mode is 5v everyone, right? So you're like a team of 5, and you just keep trying to survive against a bunch of the alien horde. So just computer players just keep coming at you, wave after wave, and you got to survive as long as possible.
So the big thing is they had a DLC pack. If you pre-order, you get a Terminator character. You get
they had a dark. Well, I thought it was the Dark Fate.
Well, Dark Fate.
Pack, right?
You get a Dark Fate Terminator skin for escape mode.
Yeah, which is freaking awesome. Like that's a pretty solid tie-in right there. The one thing I'll say, even though they didn't really talk a lot about the single player, they did have a teaser trailer with Kat, and it looked like Kat was kind of getting a little schizophrenic. She was really
just dealing with a lot. She's dealing with a lot. She's part of the hive. Like right. Her mother was the hive. The mother of the hive, or whatever.
Yeah, no, I think that's right. So she's like kind of going crazy and twisting her head around, and you see all of the other characters kind of like pop out of like her head in kind of like spirit form, I guess, or whatever, and she's just like struggling to like keep it together. It got me really interested.
So you're not going to play as Marcus Phoenix or his son. You're playing as Kat Diaz in a side mission, sort of like a side mission, right? Where you have to do something. I don't know much about the story, and I've stayed away from it, sort of, because I don't want to know much about it. Because I love. I want to be surprised. I want to go in fresh. Because this is a couple of years after Gears of War 4. They dropped of War with 5, and I'm sure they're going to drop the of War in 6. So they've gained my trust. I'm all in, and I told you the Gears of War franchise is like is the Xbox Uncharted franchise for me, right?
Oh, 100%. Yeah. I think that's like a pretty good analogy, right? It's their it's their key franchise. It's something you come back to. You love all the installments, right? They always have a good, solid single player campaign.
Right? I've beaten all of them except for one, just because I can't. I hate when you get a call. You're like running from what's the guy in Resident Evil 2 where you're running from?
Oh, Tyrant.
Tyrant. So it's like you have a big tyrant that you're running from. You have to keep dodging him, and then you have a
Mr.
weapon.
X, maybe, yeah.
Mr. X, yes.
Yeah,
No, Mr. X. Mr. X. It's like he's like Gears of War's Mr. X, where you can't shoot him. Nothing's gonna kill him. You have a weapon to control the satellite gun that's in the sky, and you have to lure him in.
I think. Yeah.
You have to lure him in, dodge, and lure him outside. So you start inside. You have to get him to come outside, and once he comes outside, you dodge, shoot the gun to the ground, and the big beam hits him and stuns him, and you have to do it 3 times. So it's pretty difficult to get his ass outside. So I haven't beaten the original one because I haven't gotten past that one, but I've beaten 2, 3, 4, and Judgment. So he's in 2 as well. The same characters in 2. But anyway, I digress. Back to the games. A game that I'm surprised. I'm so surprised we even have a release window, and that is Dying Light 2.
Yeah.
and that's coming out in spring of 2020.
All right, Christmas 2 is going to be stacked with
which I think will be
Xbox games.
I think will be moved. I'm gonna say it right now. I think it will be moved. Why it's gonna be moved? Because Cyberpunk 2077 is coming in April.
Well, there's Cyberpunk, Minecraft Dungeons, Dying Light, and some other games too are coming out in spring 2020.
Well, let's just talk about it. The next game coming out in spring is a game that I was surprised is on a Microsoft stage. Phantasy Star Online 2.
Yep. So it's the I believe they said it was the first time it's coming to the States, coming exclusively to Xbox, which is interesting, right? This is the Sega property, right? Everyone knows Phantasy Star from back in the day. Phantasy Star Online 1 was, I believe, on Dreamcast, and then it also came
that's apropos because the original Xbox was essentially the Dreamcast 2, right?
Yeah,
and they had all the Sega, they had all the sequel to the Dreamcast games on the original Xbox, exclusive to original Xbox. So this sort of is apropos that the Phantasy Star 2 is exclusive. I think they said exclusive. You could be right on that. I don't know that for sure, but you could be right. Exclusive to the Xbox One.
It's good for Microsoft because they've notoriously had a tough time in Japan, right? People just aren't about it. They're not about the aesthetics. It's an American company, trying to muscle its way in. So it's got a lot of stuff against them. This is kind of a win in their corner. I don't know how many people in Japan are going to be like going crazy for it, but I think it'll do pretty well. Phantasy Star Online is pretty solid. It's a good MMO.
You can still play Phantasy Star the original on Dreamcast online. There is an online hacked community where you can still play.
That's right. People are fervent.
So this is why I think Dying Light 2 is going to get pushed, because we have Phantasy Star, right? Huge game, has a big community. Minecraft, big community. Cyberpunk 2077, everybody's going nuts over it, right?
Everyone loves CD Projekt Red. Everybody loves
CD Projekt Red.
Yeah.
We don't know what other games are going to come out, are going to trickle down at the end of March, April, and the beginning of May. So I think Dying Light 2, Dying Light 1 came out in spring, Christmas 2. I want to say in 2014, 2015. And it was critically acclaimed. So I think this will be pushed. This is probably going to come out in the summer or September at some point of 2020. In the wake of the new consoles, we think, right? So I think anything that's going to be within a 2-week radius before or after Cyberpunk is going to move. I'm sorry, that's just my opinion.
No, I think you're 100% right. Like, again, don't go up against the Avengers, right? Don't go up against the giant behemoth. That's obviously going to dominate and crush the competition.
Well, right? Cyberpunk is coming out in April.
Yep.
And let's just say, for argument's sake, that the next gen consoles are coming out in holiday of 2020. Do you think there'll be a patch for the new consoles? I mean, because
are you kidding me?
By all accounts, both consoles will be backwards compatible. Do you think there'll be an enhanced version?
Yeah.
Sold separate for the new consoles? That's not even a
question. Well, okay. Okay. I mean, if you want my honest opinion, yes, because that's exactly to take one of the best-selling games of all time, Grand Theft Auto 5. They definitely did that. The game came out late in the life cycle on the 360 and the PS3. It came out again it came out 2013. Came out 2015. I believe it was 2015 for Xbox One and PlayStation 4. A complete re-release with better graphics and whatnot for $60. It was a physical and digital release. 100% make a new version, kick it out, as opposed to having a upgrade patch that you can just download, right?
I think it'll be both. I think it'll be an enhanced version for the new consoles, and if you already have if you already have a PS4 version or Xbox One version, there'll be a free patch.
Free patch, interesting. Yeah, I mean, CD Projekt Red would be the company to do that, because I don't know how much DLC they put out for free for The Witcher 3. They did have 2 paid DLC expansions, but they said, they committed to, I don't know, 10 or 12 mini DLC things that came out all for free. So I could see that happening. And that'd be some real goodwill towards the players, right? Because it's like, look, we already know you bought the game. We know that you may be buying a next-gen console, and we know that you don't want to like restart your whole entire game again. We know you don't want to spend another $60. So here, free download patch, you can carry your game saves over. That would be fantastic.
I'm all about it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm all about it. All right. Well, we talked about the games. Let's get into services, because we would be remiss. Xbox would be remiss to have an Xbox conference and not say any upgrades to the Games Pass. And boy, did they have an upgrade.
Oh,
boy, did they have an upgrade.
That's like their bread and butter right now. Like they're going hard with the Games Pass.
They're going hard with Games Pass. So they've announced Game Pass Ultimate, okay, where they have Games Pass on PC, console, and Xbox Live, all for this low price of $14.99 a month.
Right. So you get Xbox Live Gold. You can play the games on PC and on console for $15. That's amazing.
That's phenomenal.
It's amazing.
And
it's a great value.
I want to see if I can buy up for a year, right? If I could buy a year's worth, I will at January switch over and see if I can buy a year's worth.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. Even though you love buying physical. Even though you're probably going to own most of these games, you still want to have the service.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I do. It's only 180, right, for the month.
Only
for a year. For a year.
Only 180 for the year.
It's 180 for the year. I would, a lot of times I didn't buy the new Forza game that came out, but I can still play it and talk about it on the show.
It's true. It's true. You
a lot of games.
As much as I joke about it, you don't buy everything. You buy damn near everything.
I buy damn nearly everything, but I don't buy everything. So some games that do come out, that maybe aren't really my jam, or as we say, buy, rent, or sell. That's a big thing in video games on YouTube. A lot of reviewers have buy, rent, or sell, or wait for a sale. I would wait for a sale. I'm waiting for a big sale on the Forza game, on the new Forza game, because I'm not a big car guy. All right, but I don't mind casually playing it. But I don't want to pay like $60, especially if I'm.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. Like I bought Forza 6, and I definitely didn't put nearly enough time as I should have into that game. I played a lot of Forza 5 because it was a launch title, and there wasn't much else out there. But it was a great game, and 6 was great too. But didn't really get my money's worth out of it.
So. I'm all for this game Pass, and if I ever build a PC, I can play games on.
If
on my
you ever
PC.
build a PC, well, you won't, but that's.
I will. It's just taking a little.
No,
bit
you
longer
won't, because you
I
haven't. There's
will.
nothing stopping you from building a PC.
Money.
Me and Mike said we will help you build a PC. We will get.
If you help chip in to help me buy a PC, then I will build a PC. If you chip in, I will.
Get the hell out of here. Get the hell out of here.
Money
you have money.
is the reason
You're an
why
adult.
I have it.
You're an adult. You have a good job.
Well, you know what?
You get bonuses.
I can't keep buying new games, pay mortgage, and build a PC.
Well,
obviously
I can, Dan. So you can too. Come on now. You got to make it happen.
Something has to give.
Maybe not buy a copy of Resident Evil 2 and only play it for an hour. I don't think that's getting your money's worth out of things.
I need something interesting to talk about on the show.
Well, that's fair.
All right, but they also announced games that are new games to Games Pass today, and that's Batman: Arkham Knight, Metro Exodus, the Handsome Jack Collection, and Hollow Knight. And as a side note, I'm a little disturbed because my Hollow Knight copy, I got the PS4 version, has been delayed until July, while the Switch version has already been released. It's usually the other way around.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what's going on, Dan.
I got the email saying, "Hey, the PS4 copy has been delayed."
Right.
So,
this is from Limited Run, right? Yeah.
No. Actually, this is not from Limited Run. This is from. Also, that is a good question. I forgot who put this out. It wasn't Limited Run.
Could be a Special Reserve. Could be IM 8-bit. There's a number of different services that do the physical, the digital to physical conversion. Right? They put all the stuff together and whatnot. So.
I think it was Fangamer.
Maybe, yeah. Maybe, yeah.
Yeah, no, it was Fangamer. It was Fangamer.
Well, I mean, I'm sure it's going to come out. It's just, something got
It's just
something got
delayed.
gummed up in the works.
Yeah, it's just been delayed. So,
Yeah.
no, it's
it
Fangamer.
It happens.
So I should have got the collector's edition. I just got the regular edition. To be honest.
Well, but these are like 4 amazing games, right? These are
Yes.
like
Hollow
these are
Knight,
4
not
top
easy.
quality games.
Hollow Knight, not easy.
No. Very difficult game. But great that they're on Games Pass. They just keep bolstering up the collection, and they just make it more and more worthwhile. They keep adding. They're not like, oh, well, we only have these games this month. We're like, no, we have all of the games previously and these new games.
Well, in fairness, we don't know how long those games are going to last, right? Because $10 a month is sort of spread out to royalties to all.
No, you're right. I don't necessarily know how that all works out.
Some games will disappear, and I think some games already have disappeared. If I'm not mistaken, I could be wrong.
Yeah, because you'd have to keep getting new and new subscribers to be able to maintain.
Yeah, but the biggest game announced for Games Pass, but for PC Games Pass, is the Master Chief Collection. Halo is now all PC, all the Halo games, except for Halo 5. Because the Master Chief Collection was all the Halos up to 4.
Right. It was all the Halos up to 4, well, with the exception of Reach. It was just the numbered Halo 1, 2, 3, and 4. So Reach wasn't in it.
And ODST are now a part of the Master Chief Collection.
Well, they added those in.
They came later on.
Yeah. They added those in very, very recently, actually. So.
And Reach was a part of Games Pass for PC, but now the full Master Chief Collection is part of Games Pass, which is awesome.
Which is fantastic because they only put out Halo 1 and 2 for the PC. All the other ones were console exclusive to Xbox. They just stopped doing that for whatever reason. I guess they wanted to.
Well, 360. They wanted the most of the 360 at the time, right?
Probably, yeah. I mean, I mean, 3 was the first one to come out on the 360. So it kind of makes sense. It's great that they're on the PC. A whole new slew of people can now play those games. They are fantastic, most of them.
So we talked about Stadia earlier, and Xbox has their Project X Cloud, where you can stream anywhere, right?
Yep.
And they talked about making your Xbox your personal server where you can stream anywhere. And people are getting hands on at E3 right now. So I'm sure as the days go on, we'll get firsthand impressions.
Yeah, it's great. So as long as you have an Xbox somewhere else right, I'm pretty sure you need to have an Xbox somewhere else, and then you can connect to your home server or your home Xbox if it's on, and you can play any game and stream it over the network.
Yes, I'm just glad they didn't limit it to Windows phones.
Yeah, right.
Google,
all five people that have a Windows phone. Right? Yeah. Seriously.
Yeah, with a Mango operating system.
Right. So this is like, I think Xbox is really killing it with the Games Pass, the Xbox in the cloud, the Project X Cloud stuff, the streaming and all that. Like, I mean, granted, Xbox as a console brand has been in the game since 2001, so they have that kind of clout. Google, I mean, has been around since the late 90s, sure, but they haven't really been in the video game realm until, like, really maybe last year when they started messing around with Assassin's Creed. But really, like, this year and the announcement of Stadia. So they have a long road ahead of them. They have a lot of money. They have a lot of tech behind them. But really, like, Microsoft has had Games Pass for a while. And they've just been building upon that, month after month, year after year. This is a whole nother slew of awesome, right? This is definitely great for Xbox fans. So,
you know what I like? This is why I love Phil Spencer. All right, like he's like, you know what? You really can play anywhere because Windows phones don't exist. So you know what? You can use your Xbox, and we don't know it yet because they haven't really. This is still Project X Cloud. This isn't fully out X Cloud, and this will be built into the next Xbox, which we will talk about in a second. But I have a feeling that we're not going to have limitations like Stadia. I think this is going to be, if you have an Xbox Game Pass account or Xbox app on your phone, no matter what phone it is, you'll be able to stream it from your Xbox.
Oh, sure. They want to be inclusive, not exclusive.
Yes.
And honestly, I think Google also wants to be inclusive, but they're like a brand new platform, and they have to make sure that everything runs smoothly. They can only ensure that it will run smoothly on a Pixel 3 and like up, right? My Pixel 2 XL, which honestly should be enough to be able to stream this stuff because it's a really powerful phone, but they were like kind of like, I don't know if we're gonna have it ready in time. So yeah, again, they definitely have a long road ahead of them, you know.
So let's talk about studios, because last year Microsoft made it a point at E3 to talk about, we bought this studio. We bought this studio. Oh yeah, you too. We bought you. They bought so many studios.
I think they announced 5 new studios on stage. They now have 7 new studios. I don't know if that included this new studio.
No. I think all together they had like 8 new studios. Because I think they got another studio when it was the Xbox Fan Fest, right? That was in New Mexico. I think there was another studio that they announced.
Maybe, yeah. So they're getting all this top talent, which is great.
And now they have yet another studio, and and this came out of left field. They have Double Fine Productions.
Yep. They have acquired Double Fine.
They have Tim Schafer in their back pocket.
Yeah, I was a little saddened by this a little bit. You know, because now all the Double Fine games are going to be PC and Xbox exclusively.
Well, we don't know that.
The studio.
Well, we don't know that.
I would assume, like, why else would you acquire the studio?
Well, I think it was more so. I don't think it was more so of them acquiring the studio as Tim Schafer putting it up for sale. and I saw an interview. I saw an interview with him afterwards, where he said it just feels good that not have to worry about where the next project the funding for the next project is coming from.
Oh, right? Yeah. I guess that kind of makes sense when you have a big studio with kind of deep pockets behind your dev studio.
And Microsoft is allowing him to do whatever they want.
That's true. Because
I'm just saying, he said he has a lot of thoughts for new game concepts that he pitched. It was kind of crazy to pitch it to, because Psychonauts 2 is almost done, they showed they had gameplay trailer, which we'll talk about in a second. But he said, he has crazy ideas for new games where it's like, it's hard to come to someone and pitch crazy video game idea, right? And try to make them get it and worry if they don't get it, how much funding, because it's a crazy idea, out there idea. Now he doesn't have to worry about that. Yeah. The studio is under Microsoft. They have the funding. People are getting paid. They just have to, if they have a crazy idea, that's okay. They just have to make sure they come through with the gameplay.
Of course.
With the end vision.
And it's Phil Spencer. At the end of the day, you got Phil Spencer as your boss, which, you've been saying all this time. You love Phil Spencer. Phil Spencer loves Xbox. He loves video games. He is treating the platform properly. So if there's any place that they could have ended up, this is probably the best place to end up.
We did get gameplay footage from Psychonauts 2, and it looks awesome.
Yeah.
It looks awesome.
It looks incredible.
My only concern, my only question, I don't have a concern. Psychonauts 2 has been in development for a while.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And I don't know if it was on a PlayStation stage or not at some point between now and like 2015. I don't remember.
Yeah.
When they first announced it, I don't remember it was on PlayStation. But Psychonauts VR, obviously, I think. Well,
Promise of Ruin is probably. I think it may be exclusive to the PSVR.
Yeah. Well, Psychonauts 2, which was in production already prior to the acquisition.
Yeah, it's probably going to be on the PlayStation 4.
It's probably going to be a PlayStation 4. And Limited Run Games, this past Friday, was selling the physical edition remake of original Psychonauts for the PS4, which I pre-ordered, by the way.
Yeah, it's not really a remake. It's essentially, they didn't really do much.
Or a remaster. It's sort of like a a release. Put it out.
Yeah, it is pretty much a straight up release of the old school version. Maybe they like cleaned up the visuals a little bit, but when they put it out on the PC again a bunch of years ago, is really just like, well, there's some higher resolutions you can play it as, but it's essentially exactly the same game. That game is great. I don't know. I don't know if you played it before.
I played a little bit of it. I have it for the original Xbox, not the PS2.
Yep.
So I played a lot of the VR version.
Oh, it's
which
incredible.
takes place right after the original game.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give it its proper due when I actually get the release for the PS4.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't get a release date for the Psychonauts 2, but safe to say, if they didn't announce it now, it's probably going to be released in 2020. Especially now that Xbox is funding them behind the scenes.
Right.
So, but let's talk about hardware. Everybody wants to talk about hardware. Next gen.
Yeah. Phil Spencer came out and said early on in the conference, we are going to talk about the future of Xbox and the next Xbox console. And they did.
And before that, they talked about the new Elite controller.
They did. They did drop a new Elite controller too.
They do. It looks similar to the original. They adjusted the thumbstick tension. The grips they sort of have redesigned the grips. Yep.
There's a shorter click distance, so you can get off your shots quicker. All right, they kind of tightened that up a little bit.
But the biggest thing everyone was asking for is a rechargeable battery.
Yep, this one's got it. You charge it inside the case, which is awesome.
The only thing that I would say they should have had this a part of the Xbox ID, right? Where you could like customize it, have you want, like color wise.
Oh yeah. That would be like real nice to be able to be like, I want like green and purple. I want a blue and red combo,
It's probably going to be E3 Conference 2020.
Yeah, right. Or sometime they'll announce like you can kind of customize your own.
But they did talk about the next Xbox. They still calling it Project Scarlet.
Mm-hmm.
It is 4 times more powerful than the Xbox One X.
Yep. Not the Xbox One. The Xbox One X.
Crazy. Right? That means it's like 50 teraflops. We're in the teraflop phase right now.
That's what they say. Well, I mean, if it's like 6.2 for the Xbox, it'd be like, 24.8 of CPU compute power.
We're in a teraflop wars. 4 times teraflops is the last one.
Look, they can say all that. They also said custom AMD processor, right? GDDR6 RAM,
SSD
8K
built in,
visual support, right?
Well, they SSD said, built in, right?
Up to 120 frames per second. So they didn't say there was a baseline 60, nor did they say that 60 is the upper limit. They said upwards of 120. And the biggest part about this, holiday 2020.
Yes. Holiday 2020. We got finally a confirmation of something from next gen. This is definitely in my eyes, a November 2020 release.
Oh, of course. Well, holiday 2020 is most definitely, yeah. Game consoles typically come out in November.
Well, the last gen, I think the Xbox One came out first, because I think that one came out like early November, and then like PlayStation came out like a week or two later, like right before Black Friday.
Yep.
Because it was hard to get. I know I got my PS4 the first week of December, and I talked about it on the show. How I saw an email from Best Buy saying it was in stock, and I was on a train.
You bought it
on
the train? Yeah.
I bought it right when I hit the tunnel, and I didn't know if my payment went through. It said your payment went through as soon as I got topside. I was like, yes.
It's Kismet, Dad. It's Kismet.
Yes.
That's fantastic.
But one of the biggest news, we know we get Scarlet.
Yeah.
It's coming 2020. But they had a Halo trailer. I thought it was just going to be. Yep. It was a cinematic trailer. Mm-hmm. It was all. It wasn't in-game footage.
I was kind of thinking it was going to be in-game footage. I was kind of thinking it was. Am I wrong in thinking that?
It said at the bottom. It was like a cinematic trailer. Like it wasn't in-game footage at the bottom. They had a disclaimer.
So I'm a
I think
little disappointed.
it was like I forgot exactly what it said. I think it was like in-engine footage, but it wasn't like in-game footage.
Ah, okay. So in-engine footage basically means the cutscenes are not pre-rendered, which means that we can expect those visuals out of the next gen console. To me, because if you can do it in-engine, which means that that engine, spoilers, this game is going to be on next gen consoles. That we can expect those level of visuals, which it feels to me right. That it looks like a next gen game through and through.
Well, let's jump into it.
Mm-hmm.
The biggest thing is this will be launching with the Scarlet in holiday 2020. So this is the first Xbox console launched with Halo since the original Xbox.
That's right. That's right. They've always wanted to have a Halo game be a launch title because it's the biggest damn franchise they own. They are now able to do that again. The stars have aligned. 343 Studios is going to be able to get this game out for day one launch, which is incredible. It looked really cool. We got a good 5-minute trailer out of this, right?
We got a 5-minute sort of in-engine cinematic trailer where I was a little confused. This guy was lost in space, right? And he was missing his family. He was watching a hologram of his wife and son. And I was wondering where they were going. And then all of a sudden, Master Chief is just floating in the sky, and he brings him in, recharges him. And it looks like we've lost the war.
Yeah.
And we got a little taste of being Master Chief, seeing what he sees through the visor. And then he goes out with his gun and says, and they sort of leave it at that. There was no mention of multiplayer, or, we don't really see a story arc or anything other than sort of where we left off from Halo 5 with
No.
him and Cortana, Cortana telling him, I always knew we would be great together and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Spoilers, if you ever beat Halo 5, Cortana is batshit crazy.
Yep.
She's the bad guy in Halo 6, maybe. We don't know. I'm sure.
Possibly, yeah. Because, you do see that he doesn't have an AI. There's a little chip spot in the back of his headset. And he's had that since the beginning. That's where the little AI thing goes in. His AI has always been Cortana. Doesn't have it this time, It says AI not present or whatever it is, and it's like, oh shit, So what's gonna happen there? We'll see. It makes sense, I'm not totally surprised that we got a little more info out of it. I am very surprised that it's gonna be a launch title. That's incredible. That's incredible.
I told you. I said Halo 6 or Halo Infinite will be a launch title. And The Last of Us Part 2 will be PlayStation's way of counteracting Halo, but being a launch title for the PlayStation 5.
You were definitely right about that. In the same way I was right about Xbox is going to be showing footage of the next gen console on a stage.
Well, they did exactly what they did with the Scorpio, right? So we got the code name, we got some of the specs. They didn't mention it. They didn't shy away from it. Well, what do you think about the Microsoft's conference overall? What did you think?
Well, I think there's one more key note that that we need to definitely talk about, and that was when Phil Spencer came out and talked about the future of gaming, and he went very hard in the paint. The Xbox and the cloud thing kind of also tied into next gen, and that was really a big focus of the whole entire conference. In a way, is that Microsoft's Game Pass, Xbox on the cloud, streaming, right? When they talked about the new console, they did mention some of those things about being able to
built in,
right?
It's going to be built in from the ground up.
All that stuff is going to be built in, which is great. It is definitely a step in the right direction. Things they didn't talk about are cameras like the Kinect. There was no VR. There was no AR. It was really
he did say this was, we heard you, we're listening, we built the next gen for gaming and gaming only. So there will be no Kinect. Maybe an Xbox Scarlet camera, but I doubt there will be a Kinect-like feature.
Right.
So we could do Just Dance with motion control.
Yeah. So like interesting, they didn't do what they did with Xbox One. They didn't say like, well, the Kinect is packed in and it's the only way to get it. There's no way to not get it. And then they did a role reversal a couple years later and said, you know what? Nah, nobody needs the Kinect. And they basically took the port off the back of the new system, so you need to get an adapter to even use it, which is now like $1 million online. So they were very much. I know. I need to borrow that from you. They specifically said games. So that was kind of interesting. To answer your question, this was a fantastic conference.
Well, it went a little long. It was almost 2 hours. It wasn't quite 2 hours.
They had a lot to show.
They had a lot to show. Over 60 games. The most.
Not a lot of filler.
Any E3 conference ever. We skipped a lot of stuff too. There's a lot of stuff we could have talked about, but for the interest of time and doing a podcast, we had to skip a lot of stuff. I really liked it. I thought it was really good. I thought it was a solid showing.
Yeah.
It was pretty cool.
All right. The whole
I wasn't bored. I wasn't bored at all.
The whole Gears 5 thing when the stage like opened up and you went into like the belly of the stage where they had like they were kind of showcasing the Gears 5 escape mode. I was like, oh, that's awesome. And you had all these celebrity dudes hanging out there like playing the game like as the conference was going on. I'm like, okay, that was a nice touch. They had flames on stage. It's not all about the spectacle, but it certainly doesn't hurt.
I was impressed when they talked about Forza, right? And it was DLC. It was not a new Forza game. And we talked about, I think they're going to launch the next gen with the new Forza game and Halo 6 because we're not getting a new Forza game this year. And Motorsports usually takes over right after the mainline Forza games, but we're not getting that this year.
Yep.
And they brought out a new car, and I was like, "Oh wow, what kind of car this is going to be?" It was a Lego car because it was a Lego DLC pack for the Forza game.
Yep,
so
they had the
cool.
Everything Is Awesome song playing in the background, which I thought was a nice touch. We get Forza cars in the Lego world. We get Lego cars in the Forza world.
Yeah, at first I thought it was going to be like its standalone game, but no, it's a DLC pack for the Forza game. So I really liked it. Yeah. It was a solid conference. It was a solid showing. I really liked it.
100%. They were really just like all meat, no filler. I think with a handful of exceptions. Well then, that about does it. Our E3 day one coverage is in the books, but we have more to come. We're going to do 2 more episodes. One we're going to be recording tomorrow to release on Tuesday, which will be Devolver Digital Limited Run, Ubisoft, the PC gaming, and the Bethesda conferences. So that's going to be great. And then on Wednesday, we'll be dropping our final show, which on that one is going to be Square Enix, Nintendo, and the Kind of Funny Games Showcase to kind of close out the convention. So we want to thank you guys for being all the good fans that you are and doing all the good stuff that you do. If you want to interact with us, and we know you do, you can find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube at Rated G for Gamers. So please listen, like, rate, review, and subscribe. And as always,
keep gaming.